Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
What's up, Greg?
Bro?
Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, dude. Good as hell to see you.
Pull up to the microphone so other people can hear
People can hear me and see me.
you. Have you ever done a podcast? Yeah, you have done a podcast. I've listened to you on podcasts.
I've done. Oh, you
Or
did?
I listened to you on some pod. I was shooting arrows in my backyard, and some podcast came up and it said Greg Overton. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, my man.
See, I'm doing all kinds of shit.
All
yeah.
kinds of shit.
My boy Justin, who's from Pittsburgh. What's up, Justin? He does the Curious Jones podcast. And we also do those Zippos. He does
Oh,
those.
yeah.
So Lit Zips. Curious Jones podcast. He's a cool dude.
We got one of those right here.
Yeah. The Black Dragon Samurai.
Yeah, this is the samurai that we have outside next to the. Did you see the actual samurai armor?
Yeah. Fucking
Yeah,
crazy.
that's real
and the,
samurai armor.
and the sword, dude.
And the sword. The sword is even older than the armor. The armor is from the 1800s, but the sword is from the 1500s.
So that's right before the Sengoku Jidai, the time of the country at war, the 300 years where they're at war. I'm trying to think, did it begin in the 1500s?
I don't.
Can you
have
look that
any
up? The
knowledge of that.
Sengoku Jidai.
Pull that microphone up, but keep it like a fist from your face. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
So I first found out about you. I don't even remember what year it was, man. I remember I was with my family. I was in Salt Lake, and we were walking by this gallery, and there was this fucking dope painting. It's a huge painting of this Native American guy with a buffalo skull that had a bullet hole in the head. And I was like, God damn. And I was trying to figure out, where can I put that? Where can I put that fucking thing? And I snoozed. I snoozed and I lose.
And
Somebody else
then it
bought
got bought, but I
Somebody
didn't
else
lose
bought it.
because, you know. But dude, it's an interesting story, and I'll just tell you, like, I was shown with this other gallery for a long time that same painting was like in the back room, and they weren't really giving me my props, which is what people will do if they just want to kind of keep you at a certain level.
So do they do that to keep your prices down?
They do that so you don't leave the gallery, so you don't get too big for the gallery.
Oh,
but they don't
go off on your own like you did.
But no, I'm loyal as fuck, dude. I'm still at the galleries that were cool. You know what I mean? If the people hook me up, I'm gonna hook them up. I'm gonna stay there. You know what I mean? But I just wasn't getting my due at this other gallery, so I decided.
How long had you been painting for at the time?
I mean, professionally, I think about 16 years.
Wow.
But you know, I've been doing it since I was a kid, semi-professional.
Just always.
Yeah.
Always doing art. And when did you get? I want to say obsessed. That's the right word, right?
When I was born.
With Native American culture.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
From the time you were little.
there was books in my grandparents' house. Like one of them was called Fighting Indians of the West, and then there was like Russell and Remington books, the painters. And so I just look at these photos of like Sitting Bull and I was gonna say Crazy Horse, but no photos of Crazy Horse, but like Geronimo and shit like that. And I just saw a look in their eye like a wild person, somebody who wasn't trapped by the system. You know what I mean? And as a little kid, I just knew that was better. I knew it was powerful. I just really loved that culture.
Just connected to it.
Yeah.
It is so fascinating that so many Native Americans who got captured and put into the reservation systems and then eventually like integrated with Western culture fucking hated it. But when Western people, either when they were young, if they got kidnapped, or if they integrated with the tribes, like a lot of trappers and a lot of people integrated with the tribes, when they tried to bring them back to Western society, they all wanted to leave. Mm-hmm. They're like, get me the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do this. It's like we have this idea that cities, and especially back then, I mean, you're talking about cities in the 1800s, that somehow or another it was better. You know, we always have the idea that progress in terms of like what's going on right now is better than what was going on before. We always have that in our head, that we're doing it. But it doesn't seem to ring true to the human spirit. There's something about human beings that they absolutely prefer that life.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you are more of a human being if you're living that life. If you're living a life in a city where you have to go do something you don't want to do, and you have to go hang out with people it's like your tribe is your tribe. You belong there. Is a totally just simpler, better, more real way of life.
I think that thing that you just said, too, about your tribe, because too many people today, their tribe is not someone they chose. Their tribe is just people that they're stuck with because they're working with them. You know, if you're working, like if you're, say if you're a married person, you're a married couple, and you both work, you're both with other people at least 8 hours a day. How long are you together? You're together for a few hours at night, and then you go to sleep.
Yeah.
You're tired.
It's not a quality way of life.
But it's not the people you chose. It's the people that your occupation chose or the opportunity for employment chose. And then you got to deal with these fucking schmucks in your office. I've been very fortunate. I never had to work in an office my whole life. I dodged office life. But I've had a lot of people that I worked with that were fucking annoying, man. They just got in your way. They were always there. They're always fucking imposing their bullshit on you. And if you're a person that works in an office, especially if you have a bunch of bosses, the boss-employee relationship is so often abused. It's such an abusive place to be where you have this person that gets to tell you what to do and make you sometimes work on weekends and make you like stay overtime and upset at you if you do X, Y, or Z, which has no forces you to have the same ideological beliefs as them, forces you to have the same political beliefs as them.
Crazy, dude. It reminds me of that movie Office Space.
Yes, exactly.
Like, that's why I think our country is almost like right now is that motherfucker Milton. You remember him? Who's like they're always kind of pushing him to the side, seeing how much shit he'll put up with.
He's not the stapler guy, right?
Yeah.
That's Stephen Root.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my man.
Where he's just like, how much shit will these motherfuckers put up with?
Yeah.
And that's your life in an office. But you're taught as a kid going to high school, like, if you do a good job here, you get to have an office job. That's what you're fucking shooting for.
Yeah, and then you're working all day at school to try to do that. It's very complicated, man. Trying to get through the education aspect of your childhood and the indoctrination aspect, because that's what it is. It's indoctrinating you into believing that the only way that you can get by in this life is to become a part of this exact same system. So this is why school is structured like that. I mean, it's structured like that to teach you, but it's also structured like that where you're sitting down in front of people all day long, learning things that you don't want to learn, being forced to be immobile when you're a child, and you're literally just a hummingbird of energy. Just
I know those little desks.
Yeah, oh, it's so bad for you.
Yeah.
The inside fluorescent lights when I was a kid, terrible for you. The whole thing, bad for you. Bad feeling. I couldn't wait to run away from it. Like everything, every fiber of my being was opposed to it. But they had everyone convinced that if you didn't do this way, you're going to be a fucking loser. And that's what I was convinced. I was convinced I was going to be a loser. So I was like, I got to figure out a way to make money outside of regular jobs because I'm a fucking loser. I can't do a regular job.
Yeah, I got to do a loser job.
I have to be a loser. I have to be a construction worker. I have to do something else. I have to do something that's outside the norm because I can't fucking do this. I can't sit down. I can't. I have too much energy. I'm so bored. And it's also a terrible way to learn things. Like, the best way to learn things is things you enjoy. Things you enjoy. And then if you learn that you do something that you enjoy and you really get good at it, you go, oh, I can apply that to everything. I can apply that to all things in life. But they don't teach you that. They teach you gotta fucking sit still. You gotta pay attention. You gotta memorize some nonsense. You gotta do some shit. You do these fucking calculations that make no sense to you. Like, you gotta memorize these fucking people, a distorted version of the actual history, which is almost always what they're teaching. Some weird distortion written by the winners.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you're a loser. We have such a goofy society.
Yeah, but dude, we made it. And we
didn't. We were born into it.
Well, I mean, our
Humans
ancestors made it.
Yeah.
But I think maybe they were trying to do the right thing. Maybe they had good intentions. Maybe we don't know. But it turns out it's fucking stupid. Why do we keep doing it?
I think it's industry tricked everybody. Industry gave people jobs. Jobs are easy. You know, you need to feed people. You need to eat. You need to have a roof over your head. Okay, here's a job. This way I can get a roof over my head. Especially these people that came over like my grandparents did. They came over from Italy. It's like these they didn't know what the hell was going on. They didn't know what was going on. You know, they were just like, what am I going to do? I'm going to feed myself. Get a job. Get a job. Get a job. So everybody gets a job. You got to get a job. And everybody gets to go, get a job. Get a job. You got to eat. Because the reality of life then, in the 1920s, everybody was fucking starving to death. People were starving. Dudes weighed 100 pounds. No one had food. It was a real possibility that you could starve to death in America. People were like real poor in like the 1920s. And so they all just did it. And now we're still doing it. And everyone's fucking miserable. And then everyone gets to, not everyone, obviously. You're not miserable. I'm not miserable.
Well, like the people that have
we dodged it. Everyone's stuck in that trap is miserable. They fucking hate their bosses. They hate the corporation. Can't wait to get out and talk shit about them.
and they're pissed off at people that got out of it.
Oh yeah,
you know,
or people that are free of it.
Yeah,
they don't like people that are free of it. They you know, like I was having this conversation with my kids about like podcasters and influencers. You know, they were talking about this girl. She's making millions of dollars, and it's not. I go, here's how you have to think about that. It seems ridiculous that she's doing that, but she has a product. Whatever that product is, she's making videos or TikToks or what have you. Someone's consuming that product. She's a business person. It's just the business is ridiculously easy to get into, and the product is nonsense. But the thing is...
But you got to hand it to her for selling some bullshit.
She got lucky. Yeah. She got born in the right time. I mean, if that lady was born in the 1970s, she'd be fucked.
Yeah.
But she's not, you know? But then you also have to deal with, like, from a psychologist's perspective. If you talk to psychologists about growing up in this time, it's one of the most challenging times because people are inundated by other people's lives. You're inundated by these people driving cars you couldn't imagine driving, living in these crazy homes, flashing money, wearing all these designer clothes. Everybody's got a filter on so their skin looks perfect. They look way more beautiful than they do in real life. And you're like, God damn, like, what is life? Like, what do I have to aspire to? Like, what am I looking for? Like, what do I going to get out of this, you know?
You don't have meaning. You don't have a sense of belonging that you make a difference. Like, that's a fucking empty, sad life, dude.
Yeah, it's a suck life. As opposed to the life that you're living, a life of an artist. Like, a life that, you know, there's you labor at these pieces that you make, and then people stand in front of them and go, like, dude, that one that you made for me, the one with the guy's got all the face paint, like a gray and black face paint on. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, dude. That one's in my library. When people walk in there, they go, "Oh shit!" I'm going, "Yeah, right. Look at that thing. Like, you can stare at that painting.
Yeah.
You can just stare at it for hours. Like, whoa, there's so much, and it's huge. And there's so much going on in it."
That's what you have to do if you're gonna actually say I'm an artist. It has to stop motherfuckers in their tracks and kind of wake them up a little bit, and then they can't even stop thinking about it the rest of the day because it's like.
Has anybody ever done that to a Jackson Pollock?
I mean, not unless they're on a lot of drugs.
Maybe that's what I'm missing. Maybe it's like a Dead concert.
I didn't take enough LSD.
You gotta hop on the train.
I guarantee you the Dead sounds way better if you're frying.
Oh, I bet if you're frying, it's amazing. Yeah. I bet it's amazing. But can you find that photo, that painting, Jamie? No, that's one that I have too.
I don't know if you're talking about Soul Catcher or Dreamer.
Soul Catcher. I have that one in my house too.
It's
but that one's dope too. The one of those, that's the one.
Fucking Soul Catcher.
And that thing is massive. That's a massive painting. It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's sitting in my library.
You can't really see all the detail on it that good because it's like a JPEG, and it's kind of, when you blow it up, you can't see as much detail.
It's not that high resolution.
But you know, when you look at the snake scales, dude.
Oh, the snake scales. But really the thing that it gets me is always his face. Just the close-up of his face with all the paint and the cracked paint. Fuck, I love that painting.
Yeah. You put your soul into it, and it speaks. It's alive, dude.
Yeah, it speaks.
Yeah.
That one speaks.
Yeah.
That one speaks.
I mean, that's what art is, though. It's speaking without words. It's communicating through this I mean, it's the most archaic language that we have, like those cave drawings and stuff. Probably language wasn't that advanced when they were doing that, but they wanted to say something profound. You know what I mean? Like they didn't have like books and poems and all that. They weren't advanced as far as writing stuff down. So they'd write it down in a pictograph. And that's how they would communicate those deeper truths. And if you look at those cave drawings, they have the same themes. You know, have you looked at those? You know what I'm talking about?
I've looked at a lot of them, yeah.
They have a hunter, and he's kind of with the animals. They're going along, and then there's like this big tall motherfucker with a space helmet on or something.
There's a lot of those.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, explain that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I have to. You have to just look at the fucking thing. They explained it.
Well, I don't know what that means. You know, I really don't. They could have been tripping balls.
Yeah,
or it could be that when you're tripping balls, you meet those folks and they're real.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, the same with Grateful Dead, bro.
Yeah,
Just got taken.
I've often thought about that about UFO experiences because I think maybe it's like a state of mind. There's a state of mind that you can achieve and you can see them. You know, not if they're not there, clearly, but I think
if they're not here,
yeah,
then they're there.
But even if they're not, I mean, they're not there all the time, right? The idea is if there's something that's traveling here, but it might also be
if
that
it's
they know,
interdimensional, though.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think. It's so hard to know because it's like it's such a multifaceted story, right? Because it's laced with bullshit. Because people are bullshitters, right? So everyone bullshits. They distort something to make it more interesting. They twist it up in their own mind. Even your own memory is absolutely terrible.
Because you always want to make yourself be the hero.
Yeah. Or if you're like self-loathing, make yourself be a piece of shit.
You're the villain.
Yeah, you could do that too. But it's just not reliable, right? So then you have this shocking thing where you're not exactly sure what happened, and then your body starts filling in, or your mind starts filling in the blanks with like a lot of nonsense, and then you start telling it to people over and over again, and then after a while, your memory is of the memory of you telling it, and barely even of the UFO experience itself. It's like you've told it this way for a certain amount of times, so you kind of keep repeating it.
Yeah. And
You know?
like, what is the motivation there? Is it now just a story you tell to get attention?
What makes you better?
Yeah.
You're a special
the aliens
person.
Talk to me.
Yeah, we have to
know?
always be careful of anything that makes you special.
Yeah.
Anything that makes you a special person. What makes you special? Did you really see Bigfoot, or are you just a fucking loser? You know, like what's going on here? Are you fucking just?
Are you even special because you saw Bigfoot, or is he just special because I don't know?
I think Bigfoot might be one of them things too. I think maybe I struggled with the idea that everyone's lying. I really do. But I also struggle with the idea of this unknown bipedal hominid that's 8 feet tall. Like, where is it shitting? What does it eat? Where's its bones? No one's seen it on a trail camera? How's that possible? But why would everybody be lying?
But maybe it's smart.
No.
Maybe it fucking digs toilets.
No.
I don't know.
No chance.
Well, there's
No chance it's so smart that it knows what a trail camera is, but it never made its own trail camera. No chance. No
Don't
chance
think
it doesn't get
Bigfoot
photographed.
has Wi-Fi and shit.
No. Too many people go into the backcountry. You know, all my friends that really go deep into the backcountry, like my friends like Aaron Snyder, he does these crazy backcountry hunts. He'll go like 26 miles in with everything on his back. And they hunt for weeks at a time.
And
None of those guys have stories like that. None of them. Not one. Only the people that are nervous in the woods, that don't understand the woods. You know, I saw a squirrel once, and for like a couple of seconds, I thought it was a wolf.
I thought Carl was the wolf when he's biting my leg.
Carl was a wolf about
I thought that-
15,000 years ago. They turned that into Carl.
No, I think you're right.
But you know what I'm
though,
saying?
dude.
And like, there's bears that stand up on two legs. They do that all the time. And people see that in between the trees. You think you saw Bigfoot. You know,
Yeah.
but then I wonder about like just the heightened state of mind that you're in when you're in the forest and you're scared. You know, because you've been in the woods before. And for people that haven't, I really recommend it because it's so humbling. There's something about just the undeniable vulnerability that you have and that you don't really mean that much. You might think you mean a lot, but you're just a part of this massive system that's going on, this massive system of life. And if you're in that, and this is a new experience for you, and then you start freaking out, and then you think you saw something, and your brain goes into overdrive, and your mind starts pattern forming. You start looking for things. You've heard about Bigfoot. Now you start seeing Bigfoot, you know?
Bigfoot!
Yeah. I think there's a little bit of that.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, dude, if they're getting drunk, maybe they're smoking a little weed or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, God.
But then again, maybe if you are drunk or smoking a little weed, maybe you can hit that spot. Maybe there's a frequency that you could hit
where
that
Bigfoot's
motherfucker's
really
real.
there, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's cool to believe in. Like,
It's very cool to believe
if it was real, it would be really cool.
Some people are all in, and you can't even talk them out of it.
They needed a hobby. Like, I gotta sell some fucking T-shirts, man.
There's a lot of that.
Bigfoot thing.
Like Finding Bigfoot. Like
Yeah.
that show. That show was hilarious.
Yeah, like
How did they pull that off for like
3
8
or 4,
seasons?
8 fucking seasons.
How many seasons did Finding Bigfoot have? It might still be going on.
They really wanted to
They
find.
might. You can just keep. There's a
Bigfoot.
certain amount of slack-jawed people, me included, that would just sit in front of that and just like this.
like the River Monster show and shit.
Well, the River
We're gonna
Monster
have-
show, that guy's fishing. Fishing's fun. He's just
That's
fishing.
just crazy how he just jumps down in the fucking swamp and
Yeah.
just brings up this big demon of
Big
a
tiger fish.
Yeah.
That tiger fish, that crazy
Yeah.
fish in Africa with the giant
And
teeth.
you're like thinking, would I do that? Would I jump out the fuck? If you
The
grew up there, you
original
probably
show
would.
ended, and they brought it back as the search continues.
We couldn't think of a better fucking title than the
many-
the bullshit
and
continues.
And there's also Finding Bigfoot, Further Evidence.
Further evidence. You got none. And that's
This
in
evidence
2011.
is fucking way far out there.
I
This
mean,
evidence.
it's basically printing money.
Yeah.
As long as the people that are like on the TV show don't get cocky and think they deserve more money,
It's Bigfoot. He's behind it.
You might have to
It's like,
bring in new
They're never gonna
researchers.
find me, motherfucker. Keep looking.
if anybody gets cocky, you might have to bring in new researchers. But then the researchers have to be accepted by the research community as a legitimate Bigfoot researcher.
A legitimate.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We don't tolerate outsiders here, Greg.
That's a job title. I'm a legitimate
Legitimate Bigfoot
researcher.
researcher.
I'm not like those bullshit Bigfoot researchers who just be researching bullshit.
You know
No.
what's interesting? Duncan and I we hung out with Bigfoot researchers when I did that TV show for Sci-Fi called Joe Rogan Questions Everything.
Yeah.
We went and hung out with these Bigfoot people. And at the end, you realize it's just like, oh, you guys just need a community.
Yeah.
This is a community.
Just needed some friends.
And it's a fun thing to think about.
Yeah.
And the thing about like the Pacific Northwest, it's like the woods up there, if you haven't been, it's like a box of Q-tips. Like you can't see shit through that. You can't see 30 feet, 40 feet.
Yeah.
You can't see anything. It's just fucking trees like everywhere.
And how much does mushrooms have to do with Bigfoot? Like, there's a lot of mushrooms growing up
Probably
there in
a
the
lot.
woods, dude.
Yeah,
You're gonna
probably
see
a
a
lot.
whole bunch of shit.
you can see elves.
Like, yeah, elves,
Yeah.
Bigfoot, like
Leprechauns.
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus.
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
gonna be this big party. Why not?
Yeah,
take
why
some
not?
shrooms and hang out with Bigfoot and the elves and Santa Claus.
Well,
Fine.
but then again, like what is happening there? Are you seeing things that aren't there? Or are you seeing things that are there that you can't see under normal circumstances?
Well, dude, I think it's the latter. I think it's if they weren't there, you wouldn't be able to perceive them, and those substances just help you to perceive things because you're too busy over here all the time in that
Right.
fucking that brainwave circuit that you're kind of trapped in right here, this reality tunnel. This stuff over here, there's blinders. You can't see it.
Right.
The only way, like what happens when you take those substances, your fucking pupils,
Dilate. Shoo, they get
right?
huge. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, dude, I remember the first time that I really took a whole bunch of shrooms. When I was a kid, me and a bunch of my friends, like we just got a hold of some bunch of money. I'm not going to get into that, how that happened. But, you know, long story short, we turned this money into a big bag of mushrooms. And we all went down to the bowling alley and ate a whole bunch of them. And we just cruised around, you know, tried to go bowling. That didn't work out and just shroomed out. And by the end of the night, we're looking at the money that we still had. And we had a bunch of weed. We're passing around bowls and shrooming out. And we're looking at the money and we're looking at the buildings going, the fucking system has us trapped with this money. Let's tear it up. And
no.
Yeah.
I wish I was there with you.
Yeah, we started tearing it up. Everybody, all my friends that are listening to this are going to be like, dude, we were all there. Because there was probably like 8 of us.
And you're just tearing up your money.
Tearing up our
How
money.
much money do you think it was?
We had a fuck ton of money because I was a little shit when I was a kid, so
We don't need specifics to get the
not
IRS
gonna,
chasing you.
yeah. No, I
But-
mean, right. So anyway,
It was enough money that it was a stupid thing to do.
we were little kids. No, it's we paid for it later. We got busted. A whole bunch of shit happened after that. But long story short, we're ripping up $10 bills. This is
Right.
the '80s. Like, oh fuck, $10.
Yeah.
And the next day, you'd put it back in your pocket. We
Tape
didn't
it back together again.
You're like,
Yeah. What am I
fuck
doing?
was I doing?
Yeah.
But I think I was right.
Could have went to Jimmy John's with this.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like, but I think we tapped into something saying the system is bullshit. And if we didn't tap into that, you wouldn't make it to where you did today. Like the fact that I saw that and I started doing all those, drugs and crazy shit when I was young is what led me here. And I was getting a bunch of shit for it when I was a kid. And people were saying, what are you doing, art? Because I wanted to do that since I was a kid. That's what I was wanting to do for my career, like album covers, comic books, shit like that. And people are like, no, you're crazy. You're never going to fucking do anything with art. But I think just being, like a rebel, an outcast, that helped me. That made it possible.
Well, it's the only way.
Yeah.
If you're a person that has like some crazy corporate job and you get locked into that thing, it's going to be very difficult for you to break out and become an artist.
Yeah. Although I actually did work for the government, for the feds for a while.
What'd you do?
myself. I was an artist. No, I was a graphics guy for OSHA, for the Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
So what did you do? Like what?
I designed all the little
pamphlets and shit.
like web
Don't
shit.
put your hand on the machine.
Don't carry stuff like this. Don't do this.
Oh.
And then they'd have me edit like pictures of people that got electrocuted and got their faces
no.
blown off.
Oh no.
And say, try to make this a little less bloody.
Oh god damn it, man.
And yeah, that made me rethink.
Bro, there's so many videos on Instagram of
dude.
people getting caught in machines.
You want to know the worst one? The stupidest one that I ever saw was 3 dudes wanted to get high at work. They were asphalt layers, and they're like, let's jump in the asphalt
No.
mixer.
No,
They fucking
no,
jumped in
no,
there
no,
to smoke a
no,
joint.
no,
All of
no,
them died.
no,
like 3 dudes. Yeah.
Oh god damn.
Because asphalt is deadly
Yeah. It's
toxic if you breathe it.
It's terrible for
Yep.
you. Oh my god.
But I mean, I had to kind of get into the system before I started trying to do tattoos, and because I had young kids and stuff, I had to, and it's hard to get into the art business, so I had to try to do that.
Right.
But then 9/11 came along, and we lost our contract because all the money went to military shit, and so I had to just make another plan. I tried to tattoo for a while, that didn't work out, and then got into fine art from there.
How did you get into tattooing? How do you even practice that? Do you practice on like pigskin?
No, practice on myself. But a friend of mine, actually from Big Deluxe Tattoo, best shop in Salt Lake, and also Anthony Begana. What's up, Anthony? Didn't forget you. But yeah, so I worked at Big Deluxe for a while. My friend Rich runs that shop, and he's like just a total gangster of tattooing and runs just a real tight ship. I apprenticed there for a while. Accidentally kicked my manager in the face and got fired.
How'd you do that?
Well, there's a bar next door that we always would go to after work, and I was over there just drunk as fuck, and there's some dude in there that like was trying to fight me or something. He's like, I'm gonna kick your ass. And so I was like, all right, go outside. I'm gonna finish my beer. I'll be out there in a minute. And I was training lots of Muay Thai at the time, so I was ready to like do whatever. And so I walk out the door, and my friend's holding the door open, and I like, where's this dude that is trying to kick my ass? And he's like, right here, motherfucker. He takes a swing at me. Whew. And I barely ducked it, went down the sidewalk. I was like, all right, let's go. And I thought, as soon as he gets within range, I'm just going to hit him with that high kick. Right? And so he gets within range. I throw up the high kick, and I spin around.
And you miss, and you hit your boss.
Because he was going, break it up. I didn't even see him.
Oh, no.
He was running out of the shop because he saw us going by the sidewalk. The window's right there. He's like, oh, Greg, come on. And he goes like this, seriously, just hands out.
So you went full rotation on the high kick. good job.
It wasn't good for.
Wasn't good for him.
It
but
would have been
technique.
good. Yeah,
Good
I
technique.
did. I mean, like I said, I got to train some good Muay Thai in Utah. There was a couple good schools there when I was young.
We're a tall
so-
dude too. You
Yeah.
have good long kicks.
Yeah, so that was my thing. If I
So
can
he got
hit
in
you
the
with,
way.
if I can hit you with a kick, you say goodnight.
So he fired you for that?
Well, I knocked his teeth out and stuff.
Yeah, but you didn't do it on purpose.
They wouldn't believe me.
Oh, come on.
Well,
They thought you were trying to hit him instead of hitting the other guy?
Yeah, they probably still do. I didn't fucking do it, Mike. But
Well, how hammered were you, though?
shit, hammered. So
Zzz,
fucking
zzz.
hammered, I couldn't even see. That's why I was like, I'm just gonna throw out the long kick and take him out, you know. But then I thought, because the dude's still standing there like juggernaut, and I thought I hit him with my best kick. So I'm like,
Oh,
this
no.
dude has to go.
Oh, no.
And so then I'm like, all right, judo for you. I fucking hip tossed him onto the concrete, and I started to, you know that when you have like a scarf hold and you should do
Yeah, it's
chicken
like
wing
an Americana.
with your
Yeah.
leg though.
yeah.
And so I was pushing out the hip, getting ready to break his shoulder, and his fucking girlfriend kicked me in the face because she was watching the fight. And
That's the
he-
problem with the ground game in the street, bro.
Always, dude. And so he scurries away, and I ran over and grabbed him. I was like, no, you don't. Put him on a car. Oh, dropping elbows on him. And then she wasn't done yet. This dude's girlfriend was badass. She fish hooked me, fucking ripped up my cheek, and somehow I got her fucking finger out of my mouth. And then I was like, I'm just gonna kill this motherfucker now. He's gonna be no good to you at all. And then just, you know, hit him with a bunch of knees and took off.
Goddamn
so.
bar fights are stupid.
That was long time ago. Like I was still,
Well-
you know,
It all worked out.
yeah.
Isn't it funny how those doors close? Doors
Yeah.
close in your life, new door opens.
Well,
Yeah.
I called up the next day, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna be a little late. And Rich is like, no, you're gonna be a little fired, motherfucker. You kicked Mike in the face. Oh no, I did not. I swear.
Oh, no.
So, but everybody's laughing about it now. I'm sure those guys will get a kick out of seeing this. They'll be like, Overton.
Street fights are so stupid.
Yeah.
Please, folks, if you're listening,
Don't
don't
do it.
Don't do it.
We all coulda
Just don't
died.
do it.
We all
You definitely
coulda
could have
died.
died.
Yeah.
And even the person who kills you, they wish they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
No, I know people that have accidentally killed people in street fights and stuff. And it's-
There's a guy who is a pedophile who just got caught the other day. There's a bunch of these videos where these guys, they like bait pedophiles, like they bait them on social media.
like the old show, To Catch a
Oh,
Predator.
right, To Catch a Predator. Yeah, there's a bunch of guys doing that on YouTube, right? And this one guy got caught. I only watched the clip of the guy getting punched, and some guy walks up to him. I think the dude is wearing a mask, and he said something like, "I got kids, motherfucker," and he sucker punched this dude in the head. And the dude he's an old guy too, and he falls, and you hear that bang of his head bouncing off the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, that guy's fucked, and I'm pretty sure he's dead. I'm pretty sure he died, which happens.
I tried to follow up too. I don't know if he
Yeah,
died,
you
but
heard
he
about
might
it too,
have.
right? Yeah, so this is it.
I'm not going to show it on screen.
So, show it real quick.
but I don't know if we can.
Oh, it's illegal?
It's not our content. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
ours.
Well, don't show it on the screen then. Yeah, right there. Bam.
And he's dead.
See, that dude bounces his head off, and the other guy runs off. But the sound of that guy's head hitting the concrete is just horrible.
Brutal.
And that's how people die.
Just
Well,
that he was
people
alive,
don't
I
realize
guess.
how strong they are if they fucking
Recent
hit someone.
care.
You're a full-grown man, you know?
Did you Google it whether or not he's dead?
This is the follow up right here.
That's a video, though. Did you Google
Oh, I
like,
mean-
I read a story that said he died in the hospital.
I'll check, I guess.
How long ago was this?
5 days ago.
Yeah,
6
I
days
think
ago.
I read a story much more recently that he died in the hospital. I don't know if that's true though, because like everything is just for clicks now. Like Bill Maher just pointed this up that there was an article that said there's a 300% rise in measles in the United States. Do you know how many cases that is? 35.
300 from nothing.
Yeah, well that is.
I was like, I don't know
300%.
anybody with measles. I don't think I've ever met anyone with measles.
It's very rare these days,
Yeah.
But the fact that they wrote that in an article, a 300% rise in measles, and everybody goes into a hot panic, and then you
But
find
see,
out it's 35
that's
people.
why, like, back in the day, maybe in the fucking 50s or something, wouldn't they have jumped on that shit if it was in the newspaper and we found out about it? You lying motherfucker. There's just so many people bullshitting these days, and we let them get away with it.
Man, they've been bullshitting since the beginning. That's how weed is still illegal. Weed is still illegal because of William Randolph Hearst, who ran Hearst Publications. And William Randolph Hearst is the guy who started printing those stories in the paper about marijuana.
Yeah.
You know, marijuana was a name for wild Mexican tobacco. It was a slang for wild Mexican tobacco. Cannabis was like well known.
Huh.
And so they started saying it was a new drug called marijuana, and it was causing Mexicans and black guys to rape white women.
Because they would use it after work because they weren't drinking.
No, it wasn't real. They were calling it that because they were trying to get cannabis.
No, but I'm saying they
legalized.
would actually get high.
They were trying.
But they weren't doing anything.
They were trying to get marijuana to be illegal because they wanted hemp out of business for paper. That's what it was.
For nylon, right?
Yes, nylon. DuPont had come up with the patent for nylon.
Yeah.
And then there was also paper mills, like William Randolph Hearst owned forests that they would cut down to make trees. So he owned paper mills as well. And hemp paper was a superior paper. And so when they came out with the decorticator, which was a machine that was much better at processing hemp fiber, and they had it in Popular Mechanics magazine, so they started this campaign against hemp by creating this boogeyman of a drug called marijuana that made people crazy.
It's just
So
so
that
they
was
could
the
make
news.
money.
Yeah. So that's the newspapers in the 30s, man.
Wow.
So they've been doing this shit forever. They've been doing the same fucking thing forever.
I wonder if there was ever a time when the media and the information was like working for us, like the you know what I mean? Like
I think there's been people that have been working for us. But there's always been stories that were like heavily influenced by the intelligence community and by, you know, by special interest groups, and that's always been the case, man. Journalists have always been on the take, a certain percentage of them.
Yeah.
There's a certain percentage of journalists that are just bullshit artists. They're not
because
real.
all they are is people.
Yeah, that's it. All they are, and they're people doing a job. Like that's their job. They work at this place that says, "Hey, I want you to concoct this fucking story,"
Yeah.
and they have to do it.
It's the same thing as like, dude, I think the whole fucking problem with the government is lobbyists. When I was a little kid and I was super patriotic, like as a little kid, and I love the Constitution, I think it's so cool. The checks and balances and the way the thing is supposed to work is amazing and awesome. But then I heard about the lobbyists, and I remember as probably a 10 or 12-year-old kid going, "What?" And the teacher would say, "Yeah, it's their job to go and try to influence our senators." And I'm like, that don't seem right. And what do? They take them to lunch and they buy them shit to fucking convince them to make. Okay, get those motherfuckers out of there, and then we're good. Because then all they got to do is answer to me, and I'm the one paying them. They're trying to get extra fucking money. That's the same thing as if I was like, you know, working for a gallery and then selling art on the side or some shit.
You can't do that.
I mean, you could, and you know what happens?
What?
Like customers will come up to you and say, "I saw your shit at a gallery, and I want to buy it directly from you," and so then it's on you.
Do you have a deal like with a gallery where like if you have your stuff up in the gallery that they have to sell your stuff only through that gallery?
I mean,
Does it vary?
Well,
the
yeah,
deal?
because sometimes you have to you sign an exclusive, and then some galleries will front you a bunch of money. So every deal is different. Mm-hmm. But right now, I don't sign exclusive deals. I just say, you know, you show my stuff. I still sell a ton on my own.
But you do that now because you're established?
Yeah. But if they see it in the gallery and they come to me and they say, "We saw it in the gallery, we've only seen it there," then I'll try to get the sale to go through the gallery to actually still cut them in.
Yeah.
Because that's not really right.
Right, that's right. That's
You know
the
what I
right way to
mean?
do it because they saw it in the gallery. That's the
Yeah.
whole benefit of the working relationship of you being in a gallery.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I found you.
Galleries always surprised when you do it, but when you bought the painting, you didn't buy it from me, you had to go through the gallery, right?
I had to, yeah.
But I could have said, "Bro, fuck the gallery,
Right,
just buy
that's-
from me."
Yeah, but that wouldn't
know?
be cool.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right. In that sense, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But is there a situation with some artists where they have their pieces up in a gallery and they're not even allowed to be commissioned to make a piece outside of the gallery?
I think if they have an exclusive contract and they've fronted you money,
Mm-hmm.
and if you come to them and say, "Hey, I haven't sold anything, can you front me some more money?" and they're going to take care of you,
Okay, so it's the fronting the money is the issue, or
that
just
hardly
the exclusivity.
ever happens.
Okay.
Like that's
So for the most part, like say if I went into a gallery and I saw some piece and it was really dope, and they connected me to the artist, and I get her email and I contact her and I said, "Hey, I really love this. I'm thinking of something along this theme. Can I contract you to do something like that? Can I commission you to do something like that? And they say yes. Would she still have to go through the gallery, you think?
What do you think the right thing to do is, though, for the artist?
I think the right thing, if you find out about them through the gallery, is probably go through the gallery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And then-
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, the gallery knows you're loyal.
Yeah. Also, galleries are dope.
Yeah.
Like, we want to keep them open.
Exactly.
You know, like, I fucking love going to galleries. I love seeing all the different. I just love different people's expressions. You know, whether it's through music or through painting or illustration or sculpture, whatever it is. I'm just interested in the things people create. And so, if there's a place where you can go and it's all just shit that people created, like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
You know, I love galleries.
We need more of that.
Yes.
You know?
We need more of that. We need more encouraging people to create things. You know, it's a very valuable commodity that's seen as frivolous until it's not. It's seen as no big deal until it's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's a very strange world.
It,
you know?
it is, but, like, I mean, when you think about it, dude, it's like what we were talking about earlier, how this system is so much bullshit and it's so dry and fucking empty and there's just nothing to it, but they have to slot you in and make you fucking toe the line and your life's so fucking boring and shit. But if you get into art, whatever art it is, whether it's your music, at least you have a solace of some kind that you can come home to. So what I aspired to do was to provide powerful stuff that people that, like, they're out there doing crazy shit all day, like you, doing stuff that's affecting the world. Like, they got a bunch of stuff on their mind all the time. But just for 1 minute, they look at that painting and they're like, now I know why I remember why I'm doing all this. It's for the spirit. It's for the essence of life. It's to try to make life better for all of us.
Yeah.
You know, that's what art is really supposed to do, is try to communicate to you that, like, you do matter. We all matter. We all matter together, and we're not actually separate, because if you can relate to this and I can relate to this, maybe we can forget about all the bullshit that they're trying to make us fight about.
Yeah.
And just fucking check out a show.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. We matter to each other.
Yeah.
That's what's really important. Even if you think you don't matter in the great scheme of things, like when people get like real morose and they start thinking about life as being futile and there's no reason, it's why go on, and generally that's people that are disconnected from other people. They don't have anybody like real close that they can hang out with that they love.
Yeah.
You know, and people need that in life. It's you need a tribe.
Yeah.
You do. We're tribal people. You need a tribe. Like your family should be your tribe. Your friends should be your tribe. You know, you need groups of people, and that's a wonderful life. That's a joy-filled life. If you can have a life filled with people that you enjoy hanging out with.
Yeah.
If you can do it right.
Yeah. And those people that think that they don't matter, that they are alone, you know, don't underestimate the potential you have to actually affect people's lives.
Sure, you could turn it around too.
Yeah.
How you feel right now is horrible and as dark as it seems. That's not how you're going to feel always. You just have to trust in this process, and you got to do something. It was a funny little Instagram clip that I put on my stories the other day. This lady was talking about how she feels down, and then someone asked her, "Did you get enough sleep?" Nope. Have you been exercising? Nope. Have you been eating well? Nope. Have you gone outside? Nope. Have you stayed off your phone? Nope. Okay.
Why should you feel good?
Exactly. But that's our.
That's like saying, I'm broke. Did you go to work? Did you fucking save your money?
Right. Do
Come
you have people in your life that you love? Do you have a thing that you do that you love? If you don't have those things, you're going to have a rough time of it. You know, that's what we're here for. Yeah. We're here for doing things that we love or that are satisfying and being with people that we love. And if you don't have those things, you're in a tough spot. And, you know, the cold hard truth is, for a lot of people, you have to be someone worthy of other people's appreciation too. Like, what have you done? Who are you? Mm-hmm. What's your character like? What do you like when you talk to people? Are you nice? Are you fun? Are you good to be around? Do you complain a lot?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you want the world to be better, but you complain all the time. You're just a fucking Debbie Downer. Is that what you are?
Yeah.
Because guess what? Nobody wants to be around you, and you're going to be depressed now.
And
like you're making people feel like shit. You got to get out of that whatever mindset spiral you're in, and come up with a better way to interface with humanity.
Yeah, because it's all about perspective, dude. You know,
Yeah.
like I was walking around Austin earlier today, I've never been here before. I was just taking a walk.
This is your first trip?
Yeah.
Nice.
I go to like art towns for shows. It's all about business when I travel. I'm just doing shows and going home and making
Right.
more paintings. But just walking around a little bit down here, I was just like, God, this really is. I can look around and just see how fucking cool this place is and how all these people built all this stuff and they're building it and everybody's doing something here and I'm part of it. And I get to just sit here and chill and like take it all in and go, wow, fuck, I'm in this new city that they're building. They've got cranes on the tops of all the buildings. The restaurants look all vital and shit. I'd love to see that. And I'm like, dude, all these people have good perspective.
Not all of them.
Well, I mean, like more.
It's a good vibe, right?
I
An
don't know.
overall good vibe of the city, right?
Yeah. I didn't know what to expect, but I was like impressed. I was like, this place seems pretty cool. And I realized that's my perspective. I'm looking for the good, right? But somebody else might be in the same exact spot and they would only notice the weird homeless dude over there that
Right.
they hope that he doesn't come over here and ask them for some money, or they're stressing out about their bills or whatever it is. And I'm just sitting here thinking, no, man, fuck, perspective. Look at how fucking cool life is. Because it really is, dude. I think we've all gotten so fucked up by these little cell phones that have kind of captured us that we kind of forget. Just go outside,
Yeah.
you know?
Go outside and experience some things. It's just hard to do when you're stuck. If you're at home and you're just like staring at your phone, it's hard to like put it down and start moving. It's hard, but you
Yeah.
really have to. It's a trap. It's trying to get us to get sucked into the machine, kids, and it's coming. And if you think it's difficult to resist now, just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait.
But just don't let your tolerance get all low. Like, don't just keep fucking with it. Like, right
Right.
now, go camping.
Yeah.
Right now, go learn to ride a horse. Like,
I don't know about that.
You know,
You get hurt riding
I got
horses.
some crazy horse stories.
I know
dude.
a lot of people that have some crazy horse
I went
stories.
down to the.
I don't think they like to be ridden.
No, check this out, dude. I'll tell you something funny. I went down on a photo shoot to the Navajo reservation years ago, like probably about 5 or 6, maybe 7 years ago. And the Apaches and the Navajos were kind of doing a peace ceremony. And I was down there with like this native photographer and just a couple friends. We were all hanging out like Navajos. And we ran into this Navajo family. There's this dude that just got back from the military and like his little brother and his little sister. And we're all just hanging out. Like, because I just take pictures to get ideas for paintings and meet people and just go do stuff and go to
Right.
the reservation. That's what gives me the ideas. And so everybody's riding horses. And I haven't ridden a horse since I was a little kid in Montana. But I learned how. I rode horses every day as a little kid, like 10 years old or something. We'd ride them to town. And so all these Indians are out there riding their horses, and I want to fit in. I was like, oh, I want to jump up on one of these horses. And I jump up on one of the trail horses that's been out on the trail ride all day. And I have these long-ass legs. Everyone else is, like, shorter than me, so the stirrups aren't long enough for me. So I jump up on there, and I'm all kind of off balance, and the horse gets weirded out and just fucking takes off at a full run across the desert. Ran for like a mile, dude, and I'm shitting. Like, it's bucking me, and it's like I thought about jumping off and everything.
Oh, my God.
And luckily, I had been training jiu-jitsu at the time, so I had the strong jiu-jitsu grip that you get.
Right.
And I grabbed the saddle horn and just hold on to it. I'm like, I'm not jumping. I'm going to wear this motherfucker out. And he ran for about
So
a
you
mile.
didn't have reins? You didn't have a hold of the
I
reins?
lost the reins.
Oh, my God.
He was running, dude. I wasn't ready for it. He just
Oh, my God.
took off. But I didn't fall off. I didn't jump off.
Holy shit,
And he
dude.
finally got tired, and I turned him around and walked him back to where we were all hanging out.
Oh, my God.
And everyone was like, we thought we were going to be peeling you off the prairie. And my horse, like, puts his head down and taps the ground. I said, I made this fucker tap. I
he
jumped
gave up.
off. Oh, dude.
Isn't it interesting that you can break horses? They get wild horses and they can break them.
Yep.
They break them and get them to the point where they can ride them. It's
Yep.
very strange. It's a strange animal.
Like, yeah. I mean, dude, horses are amazing. And then I got to go down to a ranch in New Mexico and learn to ride a bunch a few years ago, and I got good enough where I was running and controlling the horse. And
It's
shit.
kind of like a real version of Avatar, when they have to
Yeah.
hop on those dragons and they have to like merge with them.
They are exactly fucking like that.
It is
dude.
like that, right?
Exactly.
Because there's this like thing that's way more powerful than you, but for some weird reason, you guys sync up together.
And if it likes you,
Yeah.
it will like stomp out rattlesnakes for you. And if it doesn't like you, it'll go over to the rocks and
Yeah, chuck you
yeah,
off. Fuck
fuck
off,
you
bitch.
off. Run
Yeah,
you
you have to have
over.
a good relationship with that animal.
yeah,
And it has to be a real relationship.
Yeah.
Like you can't be out of fear. That animal has to love you.
yeah. And you have to love it. It's like dogs.
Mhm. Yep. Exactly.
they-
Exactly.
They called them sacred dogs.
Mm.
The Lakota did. But
Yeah,
that's,
a dog you ride.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dogs and humans have very strange relationships. Very strange. You know, there's some sort of a syncing of the minds that's. It's not as simple as the dog recognizes that it gets food from you. And, no. There's like this weird love.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, did you ever see that show that was about how humans and canines like evolved
Mm-hmm.
together?
Yeah, I have seen it. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I have 2 dogs. Like they're part husky, part Akita. They're like
Pull up to that mic.
they're like the primal breed, so they kind of
Mm-hmm.
they look like wolves. They kind of act like that.
Yeah.
Like, dude, those dogs are my best friends. You know?
Yeah.
Like we go around the neighborhood. They pull me on my skateboard, and I know that they know that I'm their friend.
Right.
And
right.
it's like, I know
Yeah.
if I'm having a bad day or if I'm just like stressed out or something, and I do this or something, they'll come right up to you, be like, "What's wrong, bro?"
I was in the gym today stretching out, and I was doing this crazy back stretch, and it's kind of painful. So I'm like, "Ugh." And next thing you know, Marshall's face is like
He's like,
right
"What's
there,
wrong?"
kissing me. I'm like, it's all good, dude. I'm just stretching. And then he's like,
Like, did that stretch hurt you?
just wanted to make sure I'm okay. It was just funny.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
funny. They just sync up to you. There's something about whatever that relationship is. It's so unique to dogs. It's
Yeah.
so different than any other animal.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's
They're
like
concerned about you. Like
Yeah.
other animals, I don't think are concerned about you. Like your cat's not that concerned about you.
I don't know.
Like
Eat
if
your
you're in
fucking
pain,
face off if you die and
instantly.
Shit. Yeah.
If you break your leg, your cat's gonna go, "Oh, this guy's fucking loud. Let me go over
That
there."
fucking snap really.
Yeah. The other day we were working out in the gym with all the comedians, and Marshall was with us, and I start kicking the bag, and he starts barking. He starts jumping up and down and barking. Because he thinks like some shit's going down. Is that bag fucking with you? Like, what's happening here?
I know.
I was
dogs
like,
always-
that's hilarious. Like, all the other stuff that we did all these kettlebell workouts, we pushed the sled. That was all fine. But once I started hitting the bag, he's like, "Roar,
Yeah.
roar, roar. What the fuck is going on?
They
Why
can
the
tell
fuck's
the
a bag up?"
difference, dude. They can tell
I
the
know.
difference between like actual.
Violence.
Yeah.
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 They understand what violence is.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is, dude.
It's like, how does he, why is that different to him than me lifting a thing? Or me grunting or pushing a sled? Like, why? I don't understand.
But
Like,
that's totally why we kept them around, because
Yeah.
we're like, as soon as shit starts to go down, you jump in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my knife.
yeah.
You take care of you hit them low, I'll hit them high.
They know that they're with you.
and
Yeah,
you
they
get
have
to
to
eat
protect
this
you.
motherfucker.
That you like that happens with people. You know, if they get in some sort of a school, like brothers and sisters get in fights together, the dog fucking tries to jump in.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
You know, if two girls are beating the shit out of each other and a dog jumps in,
Like just at a party, dude. How many times have you seen that happen? When somebody's
Right.
just pushing and shoving, the pit bull's got your arm.
yeah.
Fuck!
Oh no.
Yeah.
And then you got nerve damage now.
Just like,
You got
fucking
bit by
playing.
a fucking alligator. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Those fucking things.
Yeah, they don't understand that either.
Yeah.
Especially dudes. They get a little too loud when they're playing.
Yeah.
Oh, the dog's like, oh, some shit's going down.
The dog's like, you think so?
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
This isn't your house.
Yeah.
This is my house.
Yeah, they
And
don't,
I'm not drunk.
They don't get the rules.
Yeah.
They don't get the rules of engagement. That thing in the Avatar is so wild when they sync up and they link their tails to their hair thing.
Yeah, his like
Yeah.
ponytail to
Yeah.
yeah.
It really is kind of what happens with a horse.
Well, everything is kind of, based on something. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like fiction stuff. You get that idea from somewhere.
Well, haven't people said that Avatar's like Pocahontas in space?
Well, I thought they said it's like Dances with Wolves from space, and
I
that
think
pissed
both.
me off. Well, because my mentor, a friend of mine, wrote Dances with Wolves.
really?
He was like one of my best influences that guided me in my career, Michael Blake. He's a bro, dude. It wasn't about, they say, oh, the white savior story, he's coming to save the Indians. That's some bullshit. I'm like, did you watch the fucking movie? Who saved who? The white guy didn't save the Indians.
Right.
They saved him. He learned from the Indians how to be a good person. There's nothing wrong with that fucking story.
I barely remember that movie. I remember it was really good, but I barely remember it.
Well, he
Bro,
told.
pull that microphone up to your
Oh,
face.
sorry.
It moves around.
Yeah, he told me that he came up with that idea he heard a story where a supply train, a wagon train, pulled up to like an abandoned camp, like an army camp. And he heard that story, and he thought, well, what would I do if I was that guy? Would I just go back to the base, to the army base, or would I stay there and try to figure out what happened? And he said he just came up with the whole thing based on putting himself there in his imagination.
Right.
Right? And he's just such a cool motherfucker, dude. Like, I remember I was saying, this is years ago, I said, I want to be the next Howard Terpning, which is like the big Western artist. He's like, no, dude, don't be the next anything. Be the first Greg Overton. Just be you.
Yeah.
And hearing that, like that movie was a big influence on me, because when I saw that and got a Howard Terpning book, that's what really got me back into Western art. Because as a teenager, I was doing all the punk art. Like, I did album covers for a lot of the bands from Salt Lake and was trying to draw comic books and shit like that. But as soon as I saw that movie and got the Howard Terpning book, that's what really brought me back to the Native American stuff. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do.
I think what's so interesting about the Native Americans, one of the things that's interesting, I should say, about the Native American stuff is that we didn't really understand what was even happening until the 20th century and now the 21st century. We didn't really have an understanding of like how their cultures worked and how they interacted with each other. The way it was depicted in mainstream media was always cowboy and Indian movies. It was like this very crude, kind of simplistic version of what we didn't really understand, much about Native American culture until people started writing these, like Empire of the Summer Moon, some of these amazing books, where you get a real understanding of like Black Elk Speaks, like those kind of things. You actually hear from the people that lived that life, like what was that like? Because our version of it was all just stupid movies, John Wayne movies and shit. And then Clint Eastwood took it to another level, like especially the outlaw Josie Wales.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, when he meets with that Comanche guy. And
10 Bears.
Yeah, and him and 10 Bears have this conversation about what's going to go down.
Yeah.
Your
words
these
have
are my
iron.
Words of life.
Yeah, your words of
also
death.
Also my words of death. Yeah, it's a heavy scene. Man.
Will Sampson, that's like, that was one of the best movies ever, dude.
That's a great fucking movie. That's a great fucking movie.
Yeah.
That's a fun movie.
But that's like the real Comanche Texas Ranger, because he was a Texas Ranger type dude. You know what I mean? And those are both just awesome icons of the West. We should respect both of those.
Yeah.
Because neither one of them were like a hero or a villain purely. I mean, the Comanche, they were a fucking empire. They were out for conquest. They were colonizing the fuck out of it. They took all the horses and they're like, fuck you, we're taking it.
Yeah, they committed raids on other Native American tribes all the time. I mean, they were ruthless.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this before with just the name Sioux. That wasn't their name. Then that was the name for enemy.
Yep.
Their name was the Lakota people. That's what they called themselves. But everybody else called them the enemy.
Yeah.
They were fucking everybody up.
Because they were fighting
there was
everybody.
no unity amongst Native American tribes. I mean, it was really no different than the interactions that we have with other countries. Like sometimes you're connected to them and you're allies, and sometimes you're at war. And sometimes there's the same groups of people that you used to be allies and now you're at war, or you used to be at war and now you're allies. Like United States and Japan, perfect example. I mean, that's probably one of the best examples in modern times.
Yeah.
We literally dropped indiscriminate nuclear bombs on 2 of their cities. And now we buy their cars.
I know.
We go over
Imagine
there
if
for
you did
Disneyland.
that to one of your friends, and you're like, "Sorry, I nuked your fucking house, bro.
It was
Let's
almost
go see a movie."
80 years ago, dude. Let it go.
I just nuked your fucking house. Come on,
Let it go.
you wouldn't stop fighting, bro.
Apparently, they're like, dude, you didn't get our memo. We were going to stop fighting. You guys just wanted to try out your fucking bomb.
Yeah, you just wanted to flex,
No,
and
we wouldn't do
you just
that.
wanted to flex your fucking nuke power are, and you still want to go to vacation in fucking Europe, bitch. That's what.
Oh, imagine seeing the first nuke go off and realize that nothing's ever going to be the same again. When they drop that first nuke in a city, just like, oh my God, what have you done?
Yeah.
What have you done? And what precedent have you set? It's
And-
kind
and-
of really, truly amazing that we haven't done it since then.
Yeah, that's what makes you believe in the aliens and multi-dimensional beings and shit.
Really?
Because
Isn't it just mutually assured destruction as well?
no, I'm saying like when humanity got all the nuclear bombs and shit, that's when you start to see all the sightings and stuff. So that's
Yeah.
why it kind of makes sense that they'd be like, "Oh, what are you doing? We can't let you blow up your whole fucking planet before you even evolve to your first level." Because for all we know, we're still white belts.
Right.
You
Well,
know?
leafcutter ants have no idea that you have a car. They have no idea. They have no idea what a Bitcoin is.
Yeah.
They have no idea, what 4G is. They don't know shit, and
They
they're
know
in
about
it.
cutting leaves and being
Right.
ants.
But they're around it all the time. It's very possible that there's some shit like that in other dimensions that are equally bizarre that we are not connected to all the time, and they might be here all the time. And if that's the case, then it makes sense that they would start showing up when we were in the middle of dropping nukes on each other. They'd be like, hey, 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 hey.
It'd be like when your parents heard you just beating the shit out of each other in the other room. They come in there like, all right, fucking settle down.
Settle down, boys.
You're going to fuck
Yeah.
up the drywall now.
Yeah, you guys are crashing into fucking TVs and shit. You're like, hey,
That's all it
That's
is. We're
enough.
just their dumb kids in the
Yeah.
next room
it might
making
be
a bunch of
something similar.
noise.
Because maybe they needed to let us know, like, hey, there's some other folks here, and they're way more advanced, and settle the fuck down.
And we're
You know?
trying to bring you along, just, you know.
The problem is with all that stuff is it's so hard to know what's true and what's bullshit. Just like the Bigfoot thing. It's so hard to – well, the Bigfoot thing's way easier, right? But the UFO thing, there's way more evidence. It's so hard to know what's bullshit. It's so hard. It's so hard to know who's telling the truth and who's lying. It's so hard to know what involvement the government has in terms of like how many of these things are drones. You're hearing now that a lot of these people that believe that these things are flying around, they think that what we're dealing with is some sort of a government drone. And that a lot of this off-world craft talk is really just misinformation so that they don't have to take accountability for having some crazy thing that China doesn't have, or maybe China has that we don't have, and then they want to lie about it, and try to develop whatever the fuck they have.
Yeah. And when you find out what they're really doing, then it's like, okay, now this makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now that makes sense because you're having to fucking do all this to develop that. And
Well, there's a whole conspiracy about the invention of the transistor, because the transistor came about right after Roswell. And there's a company called Bell Labs, and Bell Labs I believe they were the people that invented the transistor. And there was a military base right outside of Bell Labs. And they had always said that military base was to protect New York City. But it was pretty far from New York City. Like, if you wanted to protect New York City, you put a base a lot closer. You wouldn't put it so far away where it would take them like 40 minutes to fly there.
Yeah.
But Bell Labs is a wild place. And that was one of the main focal points of conspiracy theorists when they were talking about back engineering stuff from crashed UFOs, was fiber optics and transistors, and that they all came about very shortly after Roswell. And people don't exactly know how they figured those out.
those were probably the most basic things that they recovered. So they were the easiest to figure out. So that's why we had them first. And it's just like those fucking PlayStations. How they release a better one every few years. Maybe they had PlayStation 5 in 95, but they're still giving us PlayStation 1 because they want
Right.
to sell all 5.
Well, they can't just give us a time machine.
Yeah.
They have to give us a spaceship first.
Yep.
Like, first of all, you got to figure out travel, you morons.
And we won't even need
Yeah.
a fucking spaceship once we got a time machine.
Yeah.
You
Then
know?
we'll give you the Big Bang machine.
Yeah.
That takes time. You got to get to a higher level civilization. Have you heard of a Dyson sphere? Do you know what a Dyson sphere is?
I've heard of it. What is it? I don't know.
Well, it's a massive structure that some astronomers believe could indicate highly advanced intelligent life somewhere in the universe. They've never been discovered, but they've been theorized that there was this article that I was reading yesterday about it. If you see if you can find
So
it.
it can like tell you where it would be.
Well, they think they're massive structures that are like literally like a structure the size of a solar system.
And somebody made that, and those fucking things are out there.
Well, this is just theorized, right? When they were talking about the highest potential level of technological ability.
That you could get to.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if you got to a place where you had a self-contained solar system that's completely controlled by these intelligent beings, but that's immune to all of the hazards.
And what
of
if we're
space.
in that motherfucker?
We might be.
That's the simulation.
We might
man.
be. We might be. We might
And
be.
Thanos is like
A Type 2 civilization, one that can directly harvest the energy of its star using a Dyson sphere or something similar.
so it like is solar powered basically.
Well, I don't know what the fuck it is. I mean, I think it's totally theoretical. There's no real versions of them that are out there. But the idea is that if technological proficiency and innovation continues at the level that it is now for millions of years, what does it get to?
Yeah. But you know what? It's probably going to get weirder than that. Because the shit you can imagine.
Right.
Like, remember the 80s when you fucking had a Walkman?
Right.
Whoa, what are they going to have in a few years?
Right.
I'll be able to, you probably thought it was still going to be a cassette tape. Like when you watch The
Yeah.
Fifth Element or Blade Runner, they're still using fucking telephones. They didn't even think of cell phones.
Right.
But that's our most obvious thing that we have right now.
Star Trek, they had a walkie-talkie.
Yeah.
Kirk out.
Right, because you're still like relating it from
Yeah.
like
That's
1960
the
military
Pong of
shit.
space.
Yeah,
Right?
Exactly, dude.
That's not the
That's
Unreal
Pong.
5 engine.
So it's
That's
going to
Pong.
fucking God of War. Mm-hmm. Holy
Yeah,
shit!
it's going to keep
dude.
going. That's what I think artificial intelligence is. I think, and I don't really think this. This is just a thought. Maybe the universe is God, and maybe the way God is created is through intelligent life. That intelligent life creates a far superior version of itself in artificial intelligence, and that creates a far better version of itself infinitely. They just keep making better versions of itself as it has more of an understanding and more capacity, and it grows and it makes better versions of itself. It's eventually going to get to godlike powers. The power to create universes, the power to create solar systems, the power to stop time, reverse time, the power to traverse immense distances instantaneously. It'll have capabilities that we could only imagine. We could just imagine if, and it can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at how we're living right now in comparison to how people were living when they were making those cave paintings, like wow.
Yeah.
Insane.
Cave
Insane.
paintings to fucking
That's not going to stop right here.
yeah. But what's the things they can do? The 3D printing. 3D printing.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
No, it's
dude.
insane.
I mean,
Well, that's what they think the spaceships are made out of now.
yeah.
Like when Bob Lazar was first examining, if he's telling the truth, when Bob Lazar was first examining the spaceships, the thing that blew him away was there was no seams. It didn't make any sense. Like how could one even make something like this? Well, now that we know, there's 3D printers, and you could make something like that.
Yeah.
You could. I mean, I don't think you could make it that scale yet, but if you had enough of a capability, you had machines that could do it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if we thought of it,
Yeah.
and we're doing it, and they're fucking
Right.
60 million light years ahead of us.
Right. Like, who's to say they're not? Who's to say they're not 60,000 years ahead of us, or
Yeah.
600,000, or 6 million?
Or, like, think about it. If you have a fucking time machine, you could go back to check out some shit that already happened, but you could also go forward. I mean, we just have no comprehension of what you could. Maybe you could, like, start a project in your lab, right? And then travel, and you get all these fucking AI robots to work on it, and then you travel way forward in time and go get it, and then bring it back.
Ooh,
And then
instantly.
it's the fucking ultimate thing.
Ooh.
You know? Like, that's what I'd be doing if I had time machines. I'd be like, all right, I'm going to get all these fucking helpers to build these awesome monuments, and then I'm going to go in forward in time and check on it. All right, did you know what I mean? Like, it would just give you, if you could manipulate time and travel through time like it's an element. Like, have you ever checked
Right, but
out?
you wouldn't be able to experience it because, like, you would always be involved in time being manipulated. So there'd be no static time. So even in this static time, something could intervene instantaneously, always,
Right,
forever.
but what if we don't really understand the nature of time to make those definitions. What if you could get this time machine? What if you could kind of like step out of time in a lot of different ways that you don't think would,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Right. Like you could go into a timeline and you don't even necessarily affect that timeline.
If you know how to just observe it.
Right.
And not like physically disturb it.
But you do affect it if you go forward in the future. The idea of a time machine, the current idea of a time machine, is that you can't travel where there are no roads. So once a time machine is invented, then everything from that time machine is invented forward becomes a completely different way of using time. Because time now is nonlinear.
Yep.
Time now,
It's
anyone
this
can go.
malleable
So
thing.
everything happens all at once.
Yep.
So people from the future will be traveling back to the moment where the first time machine is invented. So everything will change instantly.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna invent a time machine and you live 1,000,000 years in the future, assuming that humans even exist, if a time machine gets invented, I mean, we might become obsolete almost instantaneously. But if you were a live human being 1,000,000 years after the time machine is invented, you would want to go back to the moment the thing was made. You'd want, and so the moment
Go
they
back
turn
a
that
bunch of
motherfucker
times,
on,
yeah.
everything changes forever.
Yeah. Singularity.
Yeah, that might be the real singularity.
Yeah.
That was one of McKenna's theories. Terrence McKenna believed that we were going to come up with a time machine. He thought that was going to happen around December 21st, 2012.
Well, have you checked out his Time Wave Zero and all that stuff?
Yeah.
And you know how they came up with that? Those Taoist priests and shit?
How did they?
The fucking I Ching, dude. They
Right,
would go
right,
into
right.
like deep meditations and they would take mushrooms too. And they found out that time can be mapped and like predicted. That's where the fucking I Ching comes from. People in the 60s got all into the I Ching.
The I Ching is like a game, right?
No, it's a book. It's made up of. I'm not like an expert on it.
But isn't there a game that's involved with the I Ching that McKenna sort of patented?
That's Time Wave
Time
Zero.
Wave Zero on.
I don't know if he made a game of it, but it's
Is
not.
the I Ching a game?
It's like a fortune telling
Right.
system.
That's what it's like. It's
Yeah.
like a form of
Divination.
divination.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it is like a fortune telling thing. That's what it is. It's not a game.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember how I haven't heard his stuff in a long time. Try to remember how he described it. But most people that have looked at Time Wave Zero think it's kind of nonsense, including guys like Paul Stamets. They're like, hey, he was probably tripping real hard when he came up with that.
I don't know. I think it's above their head, dude.
It might be.
I think
It also is a ridiculous thing to subscribe to. So a lot of people are reluctant to like open themselves up to ridicule.
But so is everything. Everything's ridiculous.
Everything's ridiculous.
What's all these like religions and everything that everybody fucking is into? Everything's ridiculous. So nothing is Taoism and Time Wave Zero isn't any more ridiculous than anything else that people are fucking tarot cards. I think it's really interesting because I really get into ancient Chinese culture. Like I was into kung fu at a young age, so I've studied a lot of Chinese philosophy, Taoism, all that stuff. Those people are highly intelligent, spiritual people who are doing deep meditations and discovering really profound truths. I think that we are at a level where we're so intellectual that we're almost too intellectual. So it's almost like we can only think about things in this scale. Like people see in a certain frequency, they can only see certain lights, but like dogs can hear sounds we can't hear. Others,
Right.
So it's just like that. It's like our fucking intellect is like this, and we can figure out all. But
Because we exist within the context of our culture.
because we've fallen in love with this.
Right. Our mind.
But there's also this, and
The heart.
your spirit. That's what figured out the Tao Te Ching. That's what figured out, how to tame horses and be one with them and domesticate primates. It wasn't just us thinking cerebrally. That's kind of limited. I think our real being is deeper than that. You know what I mean? I think you can learn and know things because I don't think about my ideas for art. I don't try to come up with them intellectually. I just meditate and I wait for it to find me. And that's not an intellectual practice.
Right.
You know?
But obviously it yields results, right? So it's the right way to do it.
Yep.
Meanwhile, people wouldn't think about that. They would think, oh, like what's the straight? How do you do this? You add these boards, and that's how you make a house.
They
you
want a
add these
system.
switches, and that's how you make a computer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why, like, Bruce Lee innovated martial arts, because he said, like, let's kind of break down all these systems. Let's not adhere to these.
Right.
He called it organized despair. All the karate forms and just doing your sparring and not really doing live training is a threshold that you don't want to cross. So you're stuck in this, like, let's go through all these boring, stupid rituals to try to prop up our bullshit society, when it's like, no, I think we've taken intellect as far as it's going to go. I think if we're going to get to the next level, we have to go deeper this way. And you know what I mean?
Well, I think it should be both, right? And I think the problem is that with money and with capitalism and our society and what our reward system is based on, it rewards people going towards the things that are going to get you results that you could show other people, you know, like houses and cars and stuff like that.
Like a quick result.
Well, like a physical, tangible thing that's measured and cherished by society as opposed to spiritual growth.
Yeah.
You know, we don't think of spiritual growth as being like, it's almost like a frivolous pursuit of silly people. You know, oh, I'm working on my spiritual growth. You fucking lazy bitch. Like, what are you doing? You ain't doing shit.
What are you actually doing?
What are you
You're just
actually
sitting
doing?
around eating fucking cookies all
Yeah,
day.
you're not doing anything. You know, self-love. Okay, settle down.
Maybe you love yourself too much.
Yeah, maybe you think about yourself too much. There's so many other things to think about, you know, and it's just, we have a very complex society that has a gravity to it, and it sucks you in, and it makes you a part of it, and you don't have a whole lot of say. You get locked in, and you get locked in when you're real young, get indoctrinated in the education system, and then you get outside of it, and you have to make a living and take care of yourself and pay your bills. You get locked in.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, space is happening right above you, and every now and then you're forced to see it. Like, I don't know if you guys got any of the northern lights from the solar storms.
Just like one.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
What was it like?
I mean, I didn't see it. My daughter was just sending me pictures of it.
Yeah. My buddy lives in Montana, and he was sending me photos of what's going on. And Jamie, your buddy in Ohio, right?
Well, yeah, all my friends in Ohio saw it, so made it that far.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's
Wild
crazy how
solar
that
storms.
just happened all over the place, man.
Well, we knew about it. We knew they were coming because there's two different types of radiation that comes from those storms when they have these big coronal mass ejections. One of them reaches us in seconds. I think that's gamma waves. Is that what that is? That reaches us in seconds? And then the second one takes days to get us, and that's the one that can take out your cell phone towers and fuck up communications and shut down the grid. And if it gets big enough, we're really doomed.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a very, very vulnerable system, and we're essentially living in a house with a glass ceiling, hoping that it doesn't hail.
That don't help me sleep good at night.
Right? If you park your car outside, you know, if most of the time your car's fine. Most of the time it doesn't hail. But if it hails, your
And you
car's
got a glass
fucked
ceiling on
up.
that car.
Your car's going to get fucked up. I'm sure you've seen like damage that hail's caused
Yeah.
to people's cars.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. That is an unpredictable thing that happens way more often than these massive solar ejections. But if they get big enough, we're fucked. If they get big enough, we are back in the caveman days, kids. I mean, we still have books, and we'll be reading them by candlelight, but all refrigeration's gone. You're going to have biodiesel generators. You're going to have to
Start
rethink
making beef
about
jerky
energy.
again.
Oh, yeah. You're going to need beef jerky. You're going to need water purification tablets.
Yeah.
You're going to need someone who can figure out how to make those water purification tablets without electricity.
Someone to test the water on before you drink it.
Bro.
You need a whole bunch of shit.
It could get real squirrely. What is when they have a coronal mass ejection? What is there's two different types of.
I know I'm lost in the science of it. It says that first it said all waves travel at the same speed, which I was like, okay, that's not what we're looking for. Like right here it says they all travel at the speed of light.
The waves do, visible or gamma, right? So those reach us in a few seconds.
But then I'm seeing they end up traveling up to 1 million miles a second.
Whoa.
So that's why I'm trying to find out which waves are the ones we're talking about then.
So how many million miles away
Is that faster than light? million miles a second.
In my head, I was about to do that calculation next. I think it is, but I don't know
Really?
the exact. It's the speed of light is like it's something meters per second.
This is how we
maybe not.
figure out time travel. These motherfuckers.
It's like 278,000 meters per second or something crazy. So I guess that could be close to a million miles per second too. Also, I don't know.
Either way, that motherfucker is not stable.
Dude.
That sun, I mean, it's fairly stable, but every now and then it'll blow a gasket and you get just crazy waves headed towards us that'll just.
That's like having a
cook
really
things.
crazy friend that just might fucking freak
Yeah,
out
one
any
dude, you bring him
moment.
to a bar. He's got PTSD, he's on LSD.
No, he's a good dude, I swear. All of a sudden he just
He's
goes,
got a DEI. What was the worst version of it? Wasn't there something that happened that took out like Morse code towers in the 1800s? I think there was one big historical mass ejection that was documented within the last couple hundred years that they say if it happened today, we would be really fucked. That this same thing, if it happened today.
The Carrington event is what it's called. The
When-
most intense geomagnetic storm in recorded history.
When was that one?
September
Can you put
1st
it
and
up?
2nd of 1859.
And so the Carrington event, most intense geomagnetic storm recorded history, peaking from 1 to 2 September 1859 during solar cycle 10, created strong auroral displays that were reported globally and caused sparking and even fires in multiple telegraph stations. Yeah, so like what the fuck would that do today?
so it just blows up everything that has electricity in it.
Yeah, it just cooks everything.
Dude, what
Yeah.
if everybody's car just blew up? Everybody's fucking house just blew
Oh
up.
yeah,
Your
it probably
TV
would.
blows
Probably
up.
cook your fucking computer in your car. September 1st, as Carrington was sketching on sunspots, he was blinded by a sudden flash of light. Carrington described it as a white light flare, according to a NASA space flight. The whole event lasted about 5 minutes. The flare was a major coronal mass ejection, a burst of magnetized plasma from the sun's upper atmosphere, the corona. In 17.6 hours, the coronal mass ejection traversed over 90 million miles between the sun. Okay, that's the distance between the sun and the Earth, 150 million kilometers, and unleashed its force on our planet. According to NASA spaceflight, it usually takes CMEs multiple days to reach Earth. The day after Carrington observed the impressive flare, Earth experienced an unprecedented geomagnetic storm with telegraph systems going haywire and auroral displays normally confined to polar latitudes visible in the tropics, according to NASA science. Carrington put two and two together and realized that the solar flare he'd seen was almost certainly the cause of this massive geomagnetic disturbance. This was a connection that had never previously been made, according to NASA spaceflight. The solar storm of 1859 is now known as the Carrington event in his honor. Wow. So if that happened today, what would happen if the Carrington event happened today? Let's find out what
Your
happens
fucking
there.
cell phone just blows up.
Yeah. Oh, probably. It probably cooks everything.
Yeah.
But that's what's really scary is that all of our cars are controlled by computers. Unless you have an old car that has a carburetor, you're fucked. Unless you have an old ass, 1988 Toyota truck, you're in a bad spot. Right there. What would happen with a Carrington event today? People ask. First one. Click on that. As such, Hudson suggested that a solar flare on the level of Carrington event might not pose as big a threat to humankind as some fear. Still, a Carrington event pointed at Earth today would have substantial impacts, mainly on human activities in space. Also, it wouldn't kill our grid?
No, probably not.
I think they're just fucking guessing.
Yeah, they don't want to freak people
Yeah.
out, dude.
I don't know.
Because if it's never happened, how do you know what would happen?
Also, that one, the Carrington event, we don't really totally know how big it was.
Right, because they didn't have the instruments to measure
Right.
it back then.
And what if there's one that's double that? I mean, if that can happen, something bigger can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. I mean, we've only been around a short amount of time. The fucking sun's been around for billions of years. Like, how long is it? Every now and then it shoots off a big wad of jizz
Yeah.
and blasts us
Fucking
with some plasma.
Just destroys all our technology. He's just up there.
When they first started observing gamma ray bursts in the universe, they thought that there was wars going on in space. When they first started detecting these gamma ray bursts, they found that they were happening like every couple seconds all over space.
And they were reading too much science fiction.
No, they realized they didn't know what it was. Like, what are these bursts? And then they realized there's something called hypernovas. So if a hypernova, like if our sun goes hypernova, that's a wrap. That's a wrap
It just
for everything.
blows up?
Yeah, but it cooks
And
the whole solar system.
that's what they're detecting all over the place?
Yeah.
So suns are always fucking blowing up.
Yeah. Well, there's so many of them. Eventually, they reach the end of their life cycle, and if they hypernova, if they're big enough and they have enough mass and they hypernova, that's a wrap for the whole solar system.
Fuck.
Yeah, like I think it's a wrap for other solar systems that are close by too.
Yeah.
I think it's a wrap for like pretty much everything.
But maybe you get to that point where,
What is this, Jamie? Captures a supernova. Hypernova is actually even bigger than a supernova. So this is the Hubble telescope captured a supernova. But there was I think it was a Science Channel, had this documentary on hypernovas, where these people were talking about how when they first started measuring them, they were like, oh, shit. Like, because this was like post-World War II. We understand atomic bombs. Like, what do these guys have? Like, these guys are blowing up whole planets out there. Like, oh, fuck. Imagine thinking that the universe is teeming with life, and that life is so violent that it's blowing up planets.
Yeah.
Total Star Wars shit.
Yeah, you'd have to, if you were that scientist, you just have to be like, holy fuck.
What do I tell people?
What? Yeah. And
We're fucked.
you probably wouldn't want to tell them that, but you'd have to tell like the generals. I would think there might be fucking Star Wars going on.
I'm sure
here.
they had meetings. When they first detected these things. I'm sure they were like, "Oh Jesus, guys, okay, Mr. Eisenhower, we've got some problems."
What are we gonna do? We might not be shit after all.
Yeah, well, we're something to us, but in the greater scheme of it all, I mean, the universe doesn't seem to care if it cooks entire solar systems every couple seconds.
Well, because I mean, the universe has to know more than we do. So we're over here thinking we're all badass. How do we know it's not better if you get zapped and then you fucking appear in a different dimension?
That's probably what happens.
Yeah.
What are hypernovas?
I was going to show you this one I was just finding on this video about the largest supernova ever. It's SN 1572, which I guess that's the year. So it was said it was visible for 23 days.
Oh my
And
God!
362 nights.
Wow.
So then, like, I'm watching the video. This is non-scientific. It could look like a star or a planet that wasn't actually there if they were observing it for so long. You know? It would have ended up in a book. And I don't know. Like,
What would they have thought was
would
going
they have known
on?
it was a supernova back then? Like, how much did they know about that?
How big did they say they saw? Did they talk about it?
Well, I'm trying to just go off without listening to the video. I'm just going off pictures and words and stuff. I'm not quite sure, though.
You imagine living back then. You see some fucking flare in the
like
sky.
that's what they look. That's what they were looking at.
Look at that bullshit telescope.
He puts his eye up to it and it just fries his fucking eye out.
Oh, right? Imagine. Yeah, those dummies are just staring.
He's looking right at the super. Ah!
Did you watch the eclipse?
The last one? No.
Yeah. You didn't see it?
No.
No? Oh, my God. It was wild, man. It was weird.
I saw the one before that. I was down in Santa Fe.
Oh, yeah?
And so I was outside, but I can't remember what I was doing. But I was like, oh, there's an eclipse. That's how out of touch I am, dude. I don't even hear about the.
Well, this was such a big one that everybody was preparing, and Roca sent us some sunglasses, so I went out in my backyard and watched it. It was pretty dope, man. It's weird to hear all the birds stop chirping, like everything stopped, all the sounds stopped, and then you just have this bizarre moment for a couple minutes where it's dark out.
Yeah, it's all weird and empty.
And then the eclipse looked amazing. It's so weird that the sun and the moon are the perfect size, that they line up that way. That gets people like weirded out. They go, what are the odds? Is there any other planet in our solar system that experiences that?
Yeah. Oh, shit.
What are the odds
That it's
the one
exactly-
planet that has intelligent life, that it's blocked out perfectly by our moon?
And what does that do? Like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe it's superstitious or something, but I think those cosmic cycles.
I think it's a reminder.
Yeah.
I think it's certainly a reminder of just the vastness and bizarreness of space itself, when you realize, like, oh, there's a giant nuclear explosion in the sky that keeps the lights on.
Yeah, and then
And
there's
every
this
now and then
other.
it gets blocked.
Yeah, the other fucking rock that just blocks it out is perfectly
Yeah.
sized and shaped.
And that rock is also perfectly sized to give us a stable gravity, that we're not wobbling enough so that we don't vary too much in our temperature.
Yeah.
It keeps us stable because it's pretty big. That moon's pretty fucking big.
And the tides and everything.
All that shit. It's all
yeah.
very weird.
What the an eclipse of one of the moons of Mars looks like. It's so small and doesn't fit perfectly.
Yeah, it doesn't fit perfectly at all. It just goes across it.
So that's the shadow that it casts. That weird.
Yeah. I wonder if are there any other planets in the solar system that would experience an eclipse that's similar to ours?
I was trying to just look at that. Like I was thinking Saturn's got multiple moons. Is there any way
It kind of would have to be
they all line up at one time?
Right. It would have to be a moon. Like one of them would have to line up, and it'd have to be the same size as the sun, in terms of like how it fits in the sky, the distance, so that it's the perfect size to block it out. Because it's so perfect. Like all you see is like as it passes over, you just see the outside light. You see this black circle in the outside
And
light.
there's a weird ring.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfectly established to give us an eclipse.
That is weird when you think about it. Like
It is, but the whole thing's weird. I mean,
Yeah.
It's probably one of the least weird things about space.
yeah. I mean, like I had an astronomy class in high school, and that class would just trip me out. Hearing about how infinite and like the white dwarfs and the pulsars and all the shit that's out there that they can see so far out there is wild. And then I got really sad when Eddie said space is fake.
I don't think he's an expert.
I was like, Eddie,
He's really
I
good at
trust
choking people, though.
Because you beat Hoyler, I'm gonna listen to you.
There's some real interesting stuff that's going on now where they're finding galaxies that are so far away and are so far formed, they're so well formed that they don't think that they should exist given the timeline of the universe. They're very confused as to how these things exist, where they exist, that they shouldn't have been formed in this way.
It's one of those fucking things.
Well, I think what it is it's probably the universe is probably older than we think it is. I think they're just, with the Webb telescope, they're just starting to be able to detect these structures in deep space that they're so far away and they're so old that they shouldn't be able to exist if the Big Bang happened 13.7 billion
maybe
years
they
ago.
found a way to stabilize themselves. Like because you got to think, like if you're at the right place, the right time, your technology advances high enough before you destroy yourself. Maybe you don't have a planet where everybody likes to kill each other and you have world wars every fucking 100 years, and you don't nuke whatever, and you build your technology in a good way. Maybe you could stabilize it so fucking Big Bang happens and you got some time wave zero shit that, you know.
That's the least likely. The most likely
I'm
is
just
that
making shit up.
we have a bad understanding of how old space is. Galaxies that shouldn't exist keep being discovered by the James Webb Space Telescope. A bright red speck appears against the backdrop of a space photo, but astronomers say that it shouldn't be there. But there it is. Published today in the journal Nature, an international research team led by Carl Glazenbrook from Swinburne University of Technology in Melbourne says that the light reaching Earth from this galaxy, named JWST 7329, is 11.5 billion years old and comes from an ancient assembly of stars likely formed 13 billion years ago. It doesn't make sense because it's been thought until now there wasn't enough dark matter in the early universe to prompt this formation. Current understandings of what grows a galaxy suggest that dark matter halos, which are filled or fields of invisible material in space, coalesce and collect stars and galaxies within their structure. It's only because of the James Webb Space Telescope that the team has been able to clarify what the red speck was in 7 years of long observations using ground-based Keck, the Hawaii Observatory, and the VLT in Chile. All they could see was a faint red smudge. NASA's James Webb Telescope, it's been such an incredible thing, been waiting for the last 30 years, been delivering all those dreams we've had. Glazenbrook tells Cosmos. This is something we've been working on over the years. Deeper and deeper surveys looking for the oldest and most massive galaxies that formed. We did the calculations of how old it is, and it's way beyond the bounds of what's reasonable to form in the cold, dark matter-dominated universe. It's really a huge puzzle. So I think they have crude instruments, relatively crude instruments for seeing that far back, and they keep getting better. And the James Webb is better than the Hubble, and the the more they can see, the more it reveals puzzles.
Yeah.
They're just not exactly sure what the fuck is going on out there. And it's big.
And when they find out, dude, like, it just doesn't that make you wonder? Like, what the fuck? What's the answer? You know?
Well, they also don't even know if the Big Bang was actually the beginning of the universe. There's a lot of people, including Sir Roger Penrose, think that Big Bang, that the universe existed before the Big Bang. And that there's also people that believe that there might be this constant cycle of Big Bang, expansion, and then ultimately compression, and then Big Bang again. Which is really wild.
But that makes sense because it's like, how is there nothing?
Right.
How's there just nothing, and then all of a sudden
a Big Bang?
It'd be more likely like everything expands, contracts.
But isn't it a weird thing to think? How is there something? If there wasn't nothing, why is there something?
Yeah.
Why has there always been something? That seems even less likely. Like, what the fuck is that?
Right, but I mean, we gotta like assume if there's something now, probably always stuff was something.
But how could it always be something? How did it start?
That's the
freak
fucking
out.
yeah. That's the
freak out.
question. Like, if you ever got to meet God, you'd be like, "What predated you?
Right.
What created
Right.
you?
Right.
You know?"
Right.
And then your mind blows.
And he'd be like, ChatGPT.
Yeah. Like, ah. And then you'd be like, "I am a fucking cyborg."
I think we're gonna find out some very interesting stuff in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I think in the next 5 years things are gonna get real fucking squirrely.
Yeah. But, you know, you kind of just, there's no other choice than to look forward to it.
Well, I mean, no one's gonna hit the brakes.
Yeah.
We got to ride this out.
Yeah.
And enjoy it.
So you just got to think, well, we live in interesting times.
We definitely live in interesting times.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting times because, there was an interview recently where someone was talking about this, and he was saying that this is the first time in history that no one has any idea what it's going to look like in 20 years.
Or probably even 5.
Probably even 5. Yeah.
Because the way everything's expanding exponentially kind of leads you to believe it's going to continue to do that. Mm-hmm. And then what are those unpredictable changes going to be?
Right.
You know, my fucking life is completely different than it was 5 years ago, bro. Unpredictable shit happened to me, but I don't know.
Well, the whole world's different than it was 4 years ago, right? COVID comes along, everything changes.
Yeah.
The whole world's different now. So, like, what does that look like? What does it look like 5, 20 years from now? It's going to be weird, man. I'll tell you that. There's no way it's not going to be weird. It's weird already, you know?
Yeah, it is, but it's almost like, do you live your life fucking worrying about it? Or do you just say, I'm alive, just fucking check it out. This is going to be wild, dude. We don't know. Because one of those solar flares could take everything out, and then we don't even have a show to watch.
True.
At least it's something to do.
Well, it's definitely
You know?
something to do, and you definitely can't stop it. So
Yeah.
you definitely should just live your life and enjoy it. But it doesn't make it any less fascinating. You know, it is absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
But this is the timeline that we're in for whatever reason. That's what gets real weird. It's like, why are we in this timeline? Everyone listening to this right now, everyone watching this right now, why are you in this timeline? Why is this the time that you exist? Have you existed before? Is this your first time in this timeline? You know, everybody wants to assume it is. Like, someone said to me once that they wouldn't, like, there's this theory, I'm sure you're aware of this theory, that you live the same life over and over and over again until you get it right. You know, that enlightenment is possible, but you got to go at it over and over and over and over and over again until you nail it. And I was talking with a friend of mine, they're like, oh, fuck, I wouldn't want to do that. I'm like, okay, if you wouldn't want to do that, do you like life now? Because I love life now. I'm having a great time. So if someone said to me that I have to do this all over again, why would that be so bad? Why am I scared of that? But everybody's scared of that. Everybody's scared of starting from scratch again, being a baby again.
But remember when you were a white belt?
Sure.
It was fucking awesome.
Not really.
Well,
I didn't enjoy it.
But I'm not talking about just getting smashed and choked. I'm talking
Learning.
about looking forward to learning.
Sure. Yeah,
And maybe I should have said blue belt. But it's like
I got smashed a lot as a blue belt too.
I like looking forward to this big journey. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
when I first started doing kung fu when I was like 19 or 20, I didn't know, and we didn't have to get choked, so it was just fun.
Right.
You know? And I was like, oh, I don't know anything about this, but I have so much to learn. It's going to be
Right.
so cool. And then after years and years, I'm kind of jaded. I've done it so fucking long. I don't think I really even appreciate it anymore.
I know what you're saying. Yeah, there's a thing that you can get jaded by a thing.
Yeah.
And new things are all very exciting. That's why it's really important for people, like just for the health of your mind, to try new things.
Yeah.
Or to try things where you're not that good at, try to keep getting better, because it's like this thing that you have to do to practice and learn. It enriches the way you think about everything.
Yeah. It's so valuable to be able to do that and to be able to realize you're doing that and you're capable of learning new things.
Yeah.
And that really is what makes you live. Is, dude. And that is why people get stagnant, because it's like when you were a kid, you were always trying to learn something new. You weren't like, oh fuck, I'm jaded. I don't know what I'm gonna do. You were trying to learn
Constantly.
And so if you continue to do that, learn and play and just accept and have fun, you don't have to get old. You don't have to get stale. You don't have to get bored. You can fucking enjoy this life.
You can.
Yeah.
You certainly can if you find things that are exciting. That's the saddest thing, I think, is someone who doesn't have a thing. Someone who doesn't have a thing that excites them. Someone that doesn't engage with something that stimulates them. I think you need it as a human organism.
Yeah.
The human organism needs little puzzles and stuff to do. Makes it exciting for it. If you don't do that, like, you're going to feel shitty.
Yeah, you do. You get bored. I mean, God, the best, most happy times in your life are when you have all these exciting projects. You don't know if it's even going to work, but like, holy shit, I'm going to try. I'm going to get excited about this and fucking go after it.
Hey, let me ask you this about your work, because I always wanted to ask you this question. When you're painting Crazy Horse, is there any part of you that doesn't want to do that? Because like Crazy Horse did not want to be photographed. So you have to paint what you imagine Crazy Horse would be. It's kind of crazy that dude got so, no pun intended, got so famous and managed to avoid having his picture taken.
I think he knew there were mugshots.
You think that's what it was?
I think when I look back at all those the photographs, I think they were fucking. He was a smart dude. He didn't want his picture out there so he couldn't be identified because they were trying to kill him.
They're
You know what
definitely
I mean?
trying to kill him.
I think I definitely do a lot of spiritual work. I do spiritual work. Yeah. But no, like spiritual introspection, and I have friends from the Oglala tribe who are like related to him that I talk to and learn stories from the Lakota, the Oglala themselves. So I try to have a deep insight for it. Do a lot of research what he really would have looked like, and also just think, is this the right thing to do? Do I have permission to do this? And if that kind of comes through, and the Lakotas themselves, they don't get a hold of me and have a problem, and I talk to them about it, then it's okay. But it's like, it's not from an actual photograph.
Of course.
It's just
Right, from your mind.
Yeah. Well, not even that. I try to I think about Black Elk's description of him and just try to put together the facial features in my mind.
How did they deal with that sculpture, that giant sculpture of Crazy Horse, the one that hasn't been finished yet?
I don't know, but I don't really. I like the idea of what they're doing, but it doesn't look that much to me like how I imagine them looking.
It's weird. How do you do a giant sculpture of a guy and say it's this guy?
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know what that guy looked like.
I know.
How you doing
But
that?
I think they're doing that to kind of just pay tribute to him.
Seems like a weird thing to do, though.
Yeah.
Well,
because I don't know. I don't want to talk shit.
there's like
on this
one
dude.
family that's doing this, right?
Yeah. And I don't want to talk shit on this dude's project.
What is that image of him? Scroll up, or you right above that, right there. Click on that. What is that? That's a bronze statue or something. Is that supposed to be Crazy Horse?
I don't know. These are just people's random pictures.
Random stuff.
Google. Yeah.
But didn't he like cut pieces off of his body, like before he went to war? Cut like 100 pieces off of his skin.
That's Sitting Bull.
Sitting Bull did
Yeah.
that. Didn't Crazy Horse do that as well?
No, Crazy Horse didn't participate in a lot of like the Sundance where you pierce yourself.
No. I mean, he cut like pieces of his skin off, like marked his skin.
No, that was Sitting Bull.
See if there's a story about Crazy Horse before we go to battle, cutting pieces of his skin off. Because I thought they said that Crazy Horse did it as well. That he had like cut little pieces of himself off of his arms. That he had little scars all over his arms.
I hadn't heard that, but I heard Sitting Bull before the Battle of Little Bighorn. Before the Battle of Little Bighorn, Sitting Bull cut like 100 pieces off his shoulders and his back.
Maybe that's what I'm remembering.
And all that to get a vision of what the battle was going to be like. And then he stared into the sun and he saw all these soldiers falling into the camp.
Wow.
And so that's where, because Sitting Bull was kind of like the general. He was a little older at the time of the battle and he had a bad wound on his leg, but he was a visionary, really respected medicine man, leader, and Crazy Horse was the actual fighter. So
Right.
he'd go and kind of lead the troops and do the actual fighting.
Did you find anything about Crazy Horse cutting pieces of his skin off? So maybe I'm fucking it up. But the thing that gets me is that they had these methods. I mean, these are people that are living in a time where you had to be pragmatic. You couldn't pretend that you could see things if you did a certain thing. Like you were trying to achieve a vision. So they had probably done it before, and they had methods to do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of their methods involve pain. You know, like the thing where they would pierce their nipples and suspend them.
Yeah, Sundance.
Crazy shit, man.
Yeah.
That they did these things in a time where, you know, you're living a subsistence lifestyle. You don't have a lot of time for fucking around for nonsense.
Yeah.
And yet they found value in, like, self-torture.
Yeah. Well, it kind of...
Do you have any paintings in the Sundance?
No, I was working on a painting of a sun dancer that has the white sage. They would put white sage around their head like this, kind of like a halo, and then wear an eagle bone whistle here.
That's what it looks
and
like.
they paint themselves white with the spots there.
And you're suspended, hanging by your nipples.
And you have to not eat for 4 days, not drink water, and everybody around the village like gets to tease you and throw little spear twigs at your legs and shit, and just like
for 4 days.
It's an endurance ritual.
And eventually it rips out of your chest.
Yep. Once it rips out, and like, dude, friends of mine from South Dakota, they still have those scars like this.
Bro.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Male and Cold Horse?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I own that. I got that on DVD.
That was what was that gentleman's name?
Richard Harris.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he goes through that ritual.
Yeah.
There's always that story though about that's why people get angry. There's a story about the white guy who goes and kicks ass with the Indians.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, because it like doesn't give the Indians enough credit.
Right.
In a way.
Right.
Like, that one you can see has a little bit of the white savior thing to it.
Sure.
But it's not like they're not giving you something. That's what I think is the native culture has taught me so much. That's why I paint it. That's why I got into that as a kid, because it was an alternative to mind prison of the system of the schools. I could see in the people's eyes that they were free, that they were real, that they were powerful individuals, and I wanted to follow that. I didn't want to listen to like my second grade teacher who was, nothing I ever want to be like.
Right.
So those books, and I still have those books, That's what inspired me to do this, and that's what keeps me going and sharing it with the world, because I want to say this is a valuable, amazing culture that we blindly destroyed and committed a genocide on. There are millions of people over here, and the whites came over and were just so fucking dumb that they wasted a lot of good knowledge, but there's still pieces of it alive, and maybe we could do what we can to pay that back, learn from it.
My fear is that if it wasn't for the ability to use media in the 20th and 21st century, we might have lost the true story forever.
Yeah.
Imagine if we did, because the world wasn't much different in terms of our technological capabilities from like 1500 to 1700.
Right.
Right, but from 1800 to the year 2000, it's a giant fucking difference. And that's when people started going, hey, what fucking happened? We should write books, like real books.
Yeah.
We should fucking really research this.
It's a perspective, yeah.
I remember the first time I read Empire of the Summer Moon. which is about this place right here, right where we're at. I was like, Jesus, like, how could we? How did I not know this?
Yeah.
How does this not taught in school? Like, what happened? Because it's a fascinating story.
I know. And you do really, really have to wonder that.
Yeah.
Like, why is that left out when it's one of our best stories? Like, I was talking to some of these guys out here earlier about, why is Quanah's story just not as popular as, like, Custer and Crazy Horse and that?
Right. Quanah Parker.
Yeah. And I think it's because it's more complex. Mm-hmm. It's not as easy as, like, the one guy from the one culture, the one battle, Custer, Crazy Horse, fight, done. It's more of like it's all over. There's Jack Hayes. There's Quanah Parker. There's the formation of the Texas Rangers. There's the technology of the Colt.
And there's another example of Cynthia Ann Parker. Another example of someone who was kidnapped at a young age, became a Comanche, and then they rescued her. And she's like, I don't want to be rescued.
Yeah,
I want to go back.
Trying to escape.
Back.
Yeah.
It's what a time, man.
And it's so sad how she, how she died thinking that Quanah was dead and he wasn't.
Yeah.
And just how much he wanted to honor her memory and how much, he loved his mom and he, what a good dude he was, just such a badass warrior. And then he was also a diplomat and took care of everyone and built that star house,
Also kind of crazy that he killed a shitload of white people.
Yeah.
And still managed to, meet the president, hang out with everybody.
Foot in each
People
world, dude.
forgave shit back then. They're like, yeah, let's let that go.
That's the time we live in.
Everybody was murdering everybody back then. That's what was really wild. It's just human life back then was worth so much less.
Yeah.
People were so much more savage.
Dude, the story of just Texas and the fucking Comanches is so wild and it's so unappreciated. Mm-hmm. And I really think that with our country and our culture, we really do have a cool history that's so unique. Where, you know what I mean? Nothing like that really ever happened. And to your point, we had a way to keep records of it. But there's all these rad stories about Native history. Like there's this dude, William Weatherby. If you can look up the story of William Weatherby, the Creek warrior, Red Eagle, he led this big rebellion of the Creek Indians, and the government hired Andrew Jackson, who was later president, I think, to go fight him. He's this big Civil War general, and these Creeks would build these big fortifications and try to fight off the army, and they blow it apart with cannons and just slaughtered hundreds of Creeks, and fought this big protracted war with them, in Alabama. And nobody even knows about the fucking Creek War or who William Weatherby is. But when you hear his story, dude, he's like William Wallace of America. You wouldn't believe this motherfucker, okay? His whole village is getting wiped out, and he's the leader, and they're like, where's William? I was going to say Wallace. Where's William Weatherby?
Weatherford?
Is it Weatherford?
Well, I couldn't find a Weatherby, but I got a Weatherford.
I got it wrong.
Okay.
Weatherby's a rifle.
Yeah, okay, Weatherford. So anyway, he's this Creek warrior, and he's the leader, and he's getting tracked down, and they're trying to find him, and they're basically, it's kind of like the Braveheart, how they're
Why does he have an American name?
I mean, back then they were interacting a lot with the English, and it wasn't uncommon for a native to have a white name. I think he was half white, half Indian too. But he was such a badass dude. So they're basically saying, if Red Eagle, that's his Indian name, doesn't come in, we're gonna just really devastate these people. We're gonna, all your people are gonna be having a bad time. So they were basically gonna hurt his tribe if he doesn't surrender. Okay. And so he's riding in to surrender, and he sees a deer, fucking shoots it, picks it up, guts it, throws it over his saddle, and keeps riding in to go surrender, right? And he gets there to Andrew Jackson, and he's like, if I had an army, I'd fight you to the death. But you've killed all my warriors, and I only have women and children. And I'm not going to let them suffer, so you can chase me, so here I am. Fucking kill me if you want to. Do whatever.
And what'd they do to him?
Well, Andrew Jackson actually said, this dude's so brave, let's have a drink. They went in the tent, drank some whiskey. And as they're in the tent, everybody's chanting. All the soldiers are chanting. See, there he is. Wow. Kill him, kill him, kill him. That's the soldiers' big chants all around from the army. Kill him, kill him, kill him. Jackson walks out. Everyone's quiet. Just let me tell you, Red Eagle is the bravest motherfucker of all of y'all. And if anybody touches a hair on his head, you're going to answer to me. Don't fuck with Red Eagle. And lets him go.
Imagine being a fly on the wall during that meeting.
Yeah.
See that guy come in and sit down.
Yeah. But just the bravest. If you read the story, and he gives this incredible speech. Like, I didn't really do it justice, but he's just very eloquent. He's, you know, says this shit. He's like, do what you want with me. Don't fuck with my people. I don't.
The history of Native Americans is there's so many people don't know what happened. So many people that don't know that Native Americans went to Paris and met with whoever the hell was in charge back then.
Yeah. Crazy shit, dude. The actual, like, truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
You know? Because we, like, the people writing fucking movies are going to go, I don't want to try that. Fucking hard cowboy, Indian.
Right.
Can't put in the can, whatever they say.
I wonder if someone's going to do, like, a realistic movie about the Comanche and the Texas Rangers.
The dude, the Yellowstone dude doing the Empire of a Summer Moon?
That's right.
Yeah.
Is he doing that? Is that official?
I think so. I think I got it now.
Ooh, that's going to be wild. He'll do it right. Taylor Sheridan knows what the fuck he's doing. He'll do it right. If anybody should be entrusted with that, did you see 1883?
Oh, yeah.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean,
so good.
Yeah. And how, the Lakotas, how they put the feces on the arrows to poison them.
Yellowstone, Taylor Sheridan lands Empire of the Summer Moon, will write and direct epic Comanche leader Quanah and the rise and fall of Old West's fiercest tribe, January 18th, 2024. Fuck yeah. He's going to nail it.
What's that going to be like?
It's going to be incredible.
I hope that the Westerns come back as a genre, because I really think we should take pride in our history more. You know what I mean? I think it would bond us more as just like, we're Americans. Our like ancestors, they fucking went across the sea. They went across the continent. They fucked with the Comanches. Like, they were brave. They were crazy. That's who our ancestors are.
Yeah.
They should be honored, dude. We should be thinking about them going, we're Americans. We're badass. We won the fucking World War II. You know.
Someone's had a couple of Lone Stars. Look at you.
God damn it.
We're fucking Americans.
But you know what I mean.
We fucking did it, bro.
Like, this is the history, dude.
It's a fascinating history.
Yeah.
It's certainly a fascinating history, and it's riddled with horror stories. Horror stories and amazing accomplishments and brave people and all of it mixing together.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But listen, brother, no one captures it better. No one captures the Native American imagery and just the feeling of it better than you. Your stuff's awesome, man, and it's been dope getting to become friends with you.
Yeah, same here, dude. I can't thank you enough. Being here is such an honor, you know, helping me get my art out there to the world. Just can't thank you enough, bro.
Oh, I'm more than happy that people get to see your shit. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to keep trying to put good stuff out there. And,
You will, I'm sure.
You know.
I have 100% faith in you. Everything you do is dope. I appreciate
bro.
it a lot. What's up, Jamie? Oh, I thought you said something. Oh, listen, man. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you. Tell everybody how they can see your stuff. Find it online.
You can just look me up online, Greg Overton Fine Art, Instagram, Greg Overton Fine Art. I'll be in Santa Fe during Indian Market mid-August, and I'll be at the fucking Jackson Hole Art Auction.
There it is.
One-man show, Jackson Hole Art Auction in September. And that's the fucking top of the top, so.
There it is.
I see you
All right, my
motherfuckers
man.
there.
Appreciate you very
Yeah.
much, man.
Thanks,
Thank you
Joe.
for coming.
Yeah, man.
Bye, everybody.